Hello, is this Ron Jarzombeck?
Yep, Jeff.
Yes.
Right on time.
Cool, man. How are you?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
We've been looking forward to this one. It's pre-recorded. I'll just preface that really quick, and then we'll just have some fun talking on the phone, bro.
All right, sounds good to me.
First thing off, I would say, Ron, am I pronouncing your name correctly? Jarzombeck.
Yep, ka-ching.
Ron, you've been called the godfather of technical metal, but now can we call you the lepidopterist of dodecaphonic metal?
If that's something cool, then of course.
I don't know.
So what the hell does that mean? What does that mean? Who made that up?
I just took it from doing some science research in entomology because of getting ready to interview, and apparently the lepidopterist is someone who studies insects intensely, all the way from, crawlers, crustaceans, all the way to moths and butterflies.
Right.
And then just combine dodecaphonic with your sheer consistency of serial writing with 12 tones and much more, not just 12-tone writing, but dodecaphonic writing, very, very strong in you, which I really have a kinship with. So I just thought I'd throw that at you, see what would happen.
Yeah, all the 12-tone now, it kind of seems like that's pretty much what my main thing is. I just, just for me, if you're playing in a certain scale and you're leaving out a couple of notes that aren't in that scale, it's just kind of uncool to those other notes. It's like all your notes, they want to be all happy together, and it's just the way I'm writing now. And that when I'm putting notes together, I can still use common scales and stuff like that, as long as I'm using the other notes too to achieve that atonality kind of a sound. But it's working great for me. We did it on the first blotted CD, about 75% of that, and then the whole EP, that's all we did was this 12-tone stuff. And it just works great for me,
Yes, it does. It's a very difficult form to write in because of the repetition. Do you also use rhythm structures in, let's say, a studied format of serial composition where you give yourself some rules and guidelines before writing that kind of music and say every note has to be a different rhythm, every note has to be a different... No,
it doesn't go that far. Really, the way I do 12-tone, it's not your, the Schoenberg type of, retrograde and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I just deal with groups of notes and sets and stuff like that, and I have different names for things like 12 tones and fragmented rows. I have multiple 12-tone sets, and just different ways that I use all 12 tones. And it's not, on the internet I've read so many people say, oh, Schoenberg was doing this, hundreds of years ago or whatever it was. But I mean, it is 12 tones, but some freaking caveman came up with the whole 12-tone, to chop an octave into 12 units. I mean, Schoenberg used them different, equally, but whoever came up with the whole system of 12, that's the guy that I'm kind of, borrowing from or using his ideas. But, we all do that. We're all using, 12 tones.
Sure.
It's just that sometimes people leave them out, when you're doing, any kind of scale. Some notes get left out. Well, I like to use all of them, keep everybody happy.
That's cool. And grouping them together, we've looked at some of your lessons on YouTube and that, and it's great how you're explaining this to many people out there that are learning their instruments in melody and harmony.
Oscillation? Yeah, the oscillation cycle video. Yeah, that's a takeoff of that whole diminished 7 kind of half whole tone thing, where you can have a half whole. No, actually, that's 3 diminished 7 chords. But I mean, you can have two whole tone scales, and that can get you all 12 notes. You can have a major scale, and then you have you can play a blues not a blues, but a pentatonic.
Sure.
I think it's a diminished fifth away from that, and then you get all 12 tones. maybe it's a minor. I don't know. I'm not thinking straight. But you know, you can achieve different things by still using all 12 tones. That might sound kind of normal. I mean, you know, I use a lot of major scale stuff, but the other notes that are left out, they're going to get used next.
Great. That's cool.
You know.
Yeah. Well, let's call what we really wanted to call about. I'll be throwing this around in the interview, and it's really talking about your new work. An interesting thing, though, that I did see is that at least the discography that's generalized that you've done, it's 12. So this is
really?
your 12th. It looks like your 12th album. You know.
I've done some guest appearances on a couple of things, but yeah, I guess if you want to look at it that way, yeah, you're correct. I'm the 12 man.
I'm not obsessed by 12, and it really sounds that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Anyways, great digipack, and thank you so much for sending that to us. And the package was received in great condition. However, it sounds alive, and I know we kind of
yeah. Sorry about you. Yeah. Did they crawl out? Yeah, your wife told me that. Yeah, but if they were in there and you opened it and they weren't in there after you heard them rattling, they're in your couch.
Well, here's the thing. Let me tell if you can hear this. She's going to throw this in front of the Neumann right now. This is the animation of entomology. It's not working. We're going to dub that and probably increase the amplitude on this. Let's see.
Well, I shook the damn thing, and I can kind of hear what she was talking about. Yeah, it sounds like there's a couple of roaches in there.
So my first question for you on the animation of entomology is silly. Did you plan to make a reference to the old TV commercial "Don't Squeeze the Charmin" by making the animation of entomology squeak?
Man, that's a new one for me. No. I do remember Mr. Whipple, though. I know what you're talking about.
We're gonna force everyone.
Wait! Explain that again. How did you get the EP out of squeezing toilet paper? I need to know.
Just when she came at me, we've got the package. He's all excited, and it's making this noise.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And we're gonna try and get some of your listeners to shake this digipack like all your people when they first get it. We want them to shake it like a frisbee gently to see if it has like some kind of message from Ron.
Yeah, might be some roach poop in there too, maybe.
Right. If a Texas roach can fit in there.
But yeah, that was that whole digipack thing. That's the first one that we've done like that. All the other ones were the standard, 6 or 8 panel CDs, and we wanted to do something different with this one since it was an EP. So we decided to get some different packaging going, and it came out pretty good.
Yes.
Pretty happy with it. Yeah.
Yeah, we have, most of all your material, Spastic Ink and Blotted Science, your solo.
Mm-hmm.
How do you pronounce that? Fripp? Fripp?
I can't do it now. Hang on. I can't do it now. I just drank some tea.
Oh, that's perfect.
Oh, well.
But this packaging is really great, and I think people they really need, not just the fans. There are so many listeners out there in the internet world that they will be so blown away by this album. This is a great album. Just loving the continuation of your style and your originality between all the guys as well. And let's do that really quick. Let's kind of talk about, what would you like to say about Alex Webster again joining you and or working with you on this record?
Well, I think if it wasn't for Alex, the whole bug thing wouldn't have come into play, because I first started talking with Alex about, I think it's 2005, and I was trying to get a hold of him because I saw a video of him playing a Cannibal Frantic Disembowelment song. I just freaking spazzed on it. And, we're just talking about Cannibal's funny, titles with their songs, all the gore and all that stuff. And I just told him, why don't you ever do anything about bugs? Bugs are creepy and everything. And, you know, I guess it just didn't fit in with what they were doing, you know, because they got all the zombies and all that kind of stuff. And I think that just kind of stuck with me. And then the first CD that we did, you know, all the brain disorders and the mental aspect of everything, that worked out great for that. And, you know, we wanted to keep everything scientific. And, you know, we've got the lab, you know, the picture of the lab on there on the, you know, on the EP.
It's beautiful.
And it was just, you know, Alex is a great guy to work with. The, you know, we're doing all the 12-tone stuff. It's kind of cool how I go back and, you know, I'll tell them, you know, we need to measure a 7/4 here, or, you know, since we're doing all the 12-tone stuff, you know, it's real specific as far as what notes you're doing and, the, you know, the timing and all of that kind of thing. You know, and he'll spit me back a tune. You know, we'll keep doing this back and forth. And, you know, it just works pretty well. You know, we have a pretty good system going. But, yeah, and then Hannes came along, and Charlie did a fantastic job playing drums on the first CD, but Alex was touring with Hannes and Obscure, and it just kind of seemed like he was a little bit better of a fit for what we were doing. And both of those guys, they're great communicators. They're very organized. And to do all this internet stuff, you know, when you ride on the internet, never see each other and play in the same room, you got to be organized. You know, you got to be focused on all this kind of stuff. And those guys, they're great. You know, for what we're doing with this, you know, not that it's not a live, you know, real band. They're great for the part. They both read well, you know, communicate, and that's what we need to get the job done. And so, you know, we put it all together, and it worked out great.
Excellent, Ron. Is the notation through Finale and written, or do you guys phrase through computation through, you know, MIDI reading?
Right, yeah. Well, when we first started, Hannes was working with, believe it or not, Guitar Pro. Now, why a drummer is working with Guitar Pro, I have no freaking idea. But that was causing a little bit of problems, and so he picked up a copy of Encore, and that's what I've been using for, I don't know, 10 maybe 12 years or so. And Alex, you know, the same thing, but then Alex started working with Sibelius, and so I got a copy of Sibelius, and we traded a little bit with that. But whenever I do all the MIDI stuff, I'm just so familiar with Encore that was our main, our source of communication musically.
That's great. Listeners out there would know that then we're looking at computation as ink and material written notation that can be converted then into computer sequencing?
Yes, yeah, we have to do all that stuff, yeah.
We're looking at this culmination. We're going to talk about the pieces here on this on the animation of entomology. Let's first talk about ingesting.
I think it's pronounced Proteria. You know what? I don't even know. You know, we did some Wikipedia searching and stuff like that, and you know, I don't want to get too much into what flicks were dealing with, stuff like that, because it kind of messes up the you know, the effect, the surprise of everything. But that one deals. That's a bunch of roaches, and man, it's just like that. That one was just that had to be track one. It just starts off with those blasts, you know, and just kind of grabs you. And you know, the writing for the EP was such a bitch, just because we had to sync everything up, you know, to how the flicks went. You know, we weren't dealing with a measure that, I mean, a section that lasted, you know, 4 measures, and then the next section lasted 6 or something like that. I mean, this was like, this theme lasts for 3 counts, the next theme lasts for 5.5 counts, you know, because, you know, it was kind of like scoring. And so all of these themes were just scattered around everywhere, and we did our best to make it sound like a song, to where, you know, if you didn't even know it was, you know, scored to some kind of video or something, it would still be a song. You know, but you're not gonna say this is the verse and this is the chorus. But it's you know, parts come back. You have different themes that come back, you know, reflecting on what's in the flick. And we just tried to put it all together that way. But the whole EP was done like that, just scattered counts everywhere.
So was it done to picture first then? And we're going to get into that. I was going to talk about the association with the artwork, and is it G.A. Morley still? Is it is it Morley's work?
Yeah, Richard Morley. He's a fantastic animator. Actually, what I'm working on next after this is a DVD, guitar instructional video based on all the songs. I'm going to play all the parts and explain all the 12-tone stuff. And I want him to do some cool stuff, like with little, scorpions crawling out and sitting on letters and stuff, for titles of songs and stuff like that. But the guy is fantastic, And but we were working on a piece a couple of years ago, and he got too busy with his landscaping work that he couldn't complete the thing. But it's great working with the guy again. We had a concept in mind. I just told him I just want bugs everywhere. So so we got scorpion, spiders, and just laid them out, and we went for this lab kind of a setting just because. We want to keep the whole science thing going, because of the name of the band. And there was lab stuff on the first CD too, on the inside, one of the inside panels is a lab shot. And so, just to keep with the whole concept of everything, keep the gore going, all the, not horror, but, the real kind of creepy, disgusting kind of stuff. That's what we based all the music on.
Phobias, man, in a way. A lot of people have phobias of many of the creatures on that cover, including, our household. Our house is covered in wasps, and actually the studio I'm speaking in, I sometimes have to squirt one. I feel terrible, but...
He just wants to be your friend. Don't kill him. He wants to be your friend.
Well, let's shift gears here. That's a great thing. Oh, well, to conclude again, then, I have a question on this, then. When you just mentioned it, then, did he score animation first, and then you guys did punches and streamers or timings, seconds to frames, that kind of a thing, or was it both?
Yeah, it was framed for more counts. Different themes had specific counts that things had to be written into. And it was very messy, but the way I put it is I forced things to fall into place. That's the best way that I can describe it, is things were so messy, and you have to make this theme here work with it in this other part of the song, try to make some kind of a semblance of what the theme basically is, and but yeah, just back to the whole thing with Richard was, we just had all this bug stuff, and I kind of explained what we were doing, musically and everything, and we just tried to capture it, and he did a great job.
Great. All right, let's ask you just a few other things here. One thing that's really intriguing is your family. And
oh, Lord.
So, what can you tell us about your family? A lot of, in most of the writing about your family is your brothers, but I guess you have two sisters too. Are you all musicians? What's your family like?
Wow, this is a weird one. Lisa works at a bank, and Linda, she does transcriptions for doctors. But neither of our Lisa played flute when she was in high school, but that was ended when high school ended. And then, of course, we all know Bobby. And then Ralph, my oldest brother, he's got a master's degree in music and all this kind of crazy shit. And that's actually Ralph is the person that turned me on to the whole 12-tone thing. But I was in high school and he was going to college, and he told me this 12-tone kind of a theory, and so he said, you got to use all 12 tones. And so I just took it and ran with it and did it all wrong. I didn't follow any of the rules or anything, but Ralph was a guy that when I was think I was an essay slayer at that time, and he was going to, going to college, music theory and stuff. And I used to ask him a lot of questions. He'd tell me what a secondary dominant was and stuff like that. I'd write a song or something with it and just start, just kind of improving my theory and everything by talking with him and stuff. Are we going to talk about Dad?
Yeah, that's... Yeah,
Dad whistles like a mofo. I'm talking serious.
That's your dad's main instrument, is his whistling?
No, he can't play any instrument. He plays the radio and whistles like a mofo, and that's it.
That sounds just like my dad. That's pretty funny.
And Mom makes a mean chicken fried steak.
That's beautiful.
And the stew is great too. So, yes, stop over at Mom's and have some stew.
Well, that's great. Well, let's conclude this way, Ron. What I usually say to everyone: this has been great. And I'll supplement a lot of other promos from what's going on right now, hopefully for you to boost this. And I didn't ask about your studying. How far did you study in music?
I just took 2 years of college music courses while I was taking computer courses too. But I just went to learn a couple of cool things. I didn't really go for a degree or any of that kind of stuff. I just wanted to just learn the basic stuff, intervals and proper names for chords and stuff like that. But, other than that, then I just started writing. I think that was the early Watchtower days that I was doing that.
Yeah.
And that's about it. And then all this other stuff was just kind of making up my own rules with all this 12-tone stuff. And I picked up a couple of books, but nothing really too, nothing that really stands out that I really learned a bunch of stuff from.
Sure, just that.
But really, what kind of has I think kind of sparked my, imagination as far as the creative musical process. I think is when I found out that Rush bass 2112 on that the airplane code.
Oh yeah.
That like changed my whole freaking life. So I think that little bit of information, I learned so much off of that you can do a lot of other things, basing music on other, patterns and different things like that, other than just learning what notes are in the scale, just the whole creativity thing, And then really, I learned more about, I think, music and the whole scoring thing from a lot of the Bugs Bunny cartoons. Carl Stalling, I just used to worship that guy, And, I'd be figuring out all these lines when Tweety was being chased around, by Sylvester and stuff, and I'd be playing along with that stuff. And I would just kind of analyze what he was doing and just learned a lot from that, But, I'm not one of these guys that pays attention to a lot of the current guitar players and stuff because I'm not really crazy about... doing what everybody else is doing. I think a lot of guitar players now, they listen to each other too much, and they're not doing their own thing. I think there's a lot of that going around.
That's pretty cool.
But but if that makes them happy, then go for it. I'm gonna stick with my Bugs though.
That's great. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So here's the last question. I ask everybody this. This is internet radio. Ron, what would you like to say to the entire world out there right now at this time with your tea there in Texas?
I would like to say if a bug comes up to you and you think it's going to hurt you, he wants to be your friend. Don't smash him. Don't kill him. Make him your friend. How's that?
That's beautiful, Ron.
I have no idea where that came from, but yeah.